heck is a segundo volante? Well, a couple of things happened. It's my own fault. At the end of the day, I tend to record way ahead of where the videos actually are. I mentioned this about 2 or 3 weeks back when I started recording again, that I had taken about a 4-week break due to work and stuff like that. But I had so many episodes recorded that I was still ahead. And it was a timing issue. And like I said, it's my own fault. Red Star came to me. They asked me to interview. I did. They offered me the job. I took it. So then I sat down and figured out how many episodes I had recorded. And it was literally one of those cases where I had enough Lechia episodes to run into the middle of next month. And with FM22 coming out, that was not a good thing. So I just made the decision to call the series right there. The other thing that happened was I got called out of town for work again. What I need to do is figure out a way to upload stuff to a cloud server so I can do editing and stuff like that on the road. On my laptop, it just means copying stuff and essentially making a mirror of what I have on my desktop on my laptop, which is eminently doable. It's just a matter of time and energy. But it was one of those cases where I got the Journeyman started late. I didn't post as often as I like. I usually try for 4 episodes a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I recorded really far ahead, took a break off, edited episodes, kept posting them, came back to the save. Took the Red Star job. This was about 2 weeks ago, real lifetime. Realized I had all these episodes, and then I got called out of town last week on an emergency, which is why there was no episodes posted last week. And FM22 dropped. So I have an FM22 save coming up that's going to be starting this Wednesday. I'm going to have post Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then I'm going to go back to the Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday episode thing. But I just wanted to let you know that, I did take the Red Star job, but I called the episode there. And then what I did was I kept playing Lechia. So this was 2032. I'm going to load up where Lechia was when I stopped playing it, when I realized I wasn't going to be able to finish with Red Star, which I think would have been a really good job for us. They have a decent amount of money. They have a decent amount of fans. They're in a smaller league, but if you finish top 3, you have the opportunity to go through the qualifying rounds and things like that, and the quality of players you get coming through are really, really good. I mean, this is my potential right here. All those guys are under 21 years old. They're 21 or under, and I've got a bunch of 4-star guys, and I know I could scout and find and develop youth and eventually probably go a long way with Red Star. What happened in Lechia was also interesting. Let me load that here up real quick. So it's 2035 in Lechia, which is 3 years ahead. Poland has done well enough now that if you win the Extra Klasa, you get an automatic group stage bid. You go in the 4th pot. We've brought in some good players. We've lost some players. Probably the one that hurt the most for us, as I'm clicking on the wrong thing here, is going to be Vuz Kuzmanovic, who went to Atletico Madrid for 13.5, going up to 14.5. I undervalued him greatly because he's now valued at 44 million. He was a great advanced midfielder for us, had some really good seasons for us. We bought him for 5.75 from Kusturicki and turned around and sold him for 13, which I thought was a good deal. He had 3 really good seasons for us. Now he's at Atletico, and he's just tearing it up over there. Our player-wise, there's some familiar faces here still. Caballero's still in goal. Ferdinand Lachman is here for, I think, like the 5th year in a row. And for whatever reason, Borussia Dortmund doesn't want to sell him, but they're happy to keep loaning him out. I'm more than happy to take him. Christian, who we brought to be Kuzmanovic's replacement, has done really well for us these past couple of seasons. We just brought him in. So that was his last season there, 8-3-2. Let me go here. We got 2 new young strikers. Robson Michael is someone I think could be really, really good. He's 21 years old now. He's 3.5-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability. If he gets better physically, he's going to be great. Technically, he's already really good. The marking and tackling of fours don't bother me in the least because he is turning into a very good complete forward. Everything else being what it is, I suspect he could probably be a top 10 striker in football. Ramiro Silva is kind of in the same mode. 3.5-star current ability, 5-star potential ability. He's faster than Robson. He's my advanced forward. They've been a very good 1-2 combination for us. We've moved some familiar names on, just simply because I'm not the type of guy who's going to hold a player on who doesn't want to stay here, especially if I can turn around and sell him for money. We'll look back at some of the names here real quick. Kuzmanik left, Oliver Tiny left, Martin Hook left, Patrick Ngondo left. We had him in for a season, and he did really well for us, and then he turned around and left. Emery Turan left. One of the things about the Journeyman that I'm finding out I'm not a fan of is that I don't pay up as much attention to player development as I do in single team saves. A lot of that is just the time and effort involved in doing that sort of thing. I have a save I'm going to be doing after the beta where it's going to be a single team almost youth only save. I'll go into more details of that when that becomes closer, and that's going to be a lot of spreadsheet work and things like that. So like Alex Ramos went to Zenit for 12.75. Wistop moved down to Shenzhen for 4. Mark Carey went to back to Hibernian for 600,000. We've been spending a decent amount of money. We've been making a decent amount of money. This last transfer window we had, where we sold 71 and bought 49, broke extra class of records. Season wise, we won 3 in a row now. This was this season 2032. 31-32. This was the season we won. This is when we took over Red Star, but I never really played a Red Star game. I started doing all the things I do in terms of like replacing coaches and scouts and looking at players and stuff like that. Then I sat down and planned out my episodes and realized in a perfect world I was going to get all the Lecce. The Lecce episodes would have ended tomorrow, and the Red Star episodes would have started. And FM22, the beta, just dropped this last week. So it was poor timing on my part. It was bad timing on my part. I wasn't expecting work to intrude as much as it did, which is why there was some uploading issues. One of the things I'm going to try and work on with my 2 series for FM22 is to record ahead and edit ahead. So I have a buffer of about a couple of weeks. We can look back at some of the other teams. Academic Conslini is back down in the first league. They have not had a lot of luck. This is where we were. The next season they were down to 12th. Then they fell down to 13th and were relegated. And then they came back up for a little bit. Not so much. We were there 26 to 28. We were there almost 2 years. The other coaches they had did not last all that long. And as far as I know, if I was to look at the players, there's almost no one here on the squad that we would recognize. None of the names are jumping out at me. Spartaks, I still follow them on Twitter. I'll get their notices every once in a while. They have dominated the Latvian higher league for a long, long time. This was the one season, I think that was the one off season they had where they finished 4th, and they had a ton of injuries there. The second, so on and so forth. They've also had some very good runs in the European leagues competitions. I think probably the one guy I remember most of all was Wamba, who was our forward. And he was very good for this level of football, and I believe they literally just sold him for $8.25 thousand, going to Trans JK Narva. So that's another league up there. He's 32 years old now. But if we look back at the career stats, I believe this was when we had him, 25-26. He had some really good seasons for us. He was a solid player throughout. Before that, we were at Bachmaro, where we got started. Probably spelled that wrong. And they're all the way back down in 3 Liga, and there's no players here that I recognize now. So it's been 14 years. I'd be really surprised. So we came on all the way down here. We were there 2 years, 2.5 years. They fired me because I was interviewing for too many jobs. I'd taken them as far as they could go. And, yeah, it was, we took over here, went here, got there, all the way, and this was our best finish when we finished third. Then I left, and it was a long, slow drop down. So this was an interesting series for me. The lessons learned were many. One of the things was, as I moved up the chain, I needed to get rid of some of the lower regional leagues. If we go to the job center, Kosovo in first league, but like all this Turkmenistani stuff, these are all semi-pro or in some cases amateur teams that you would start coaching at. But once I got to Academic and Clincini, I should have taken these leagues out. The other thing I should have done was, even though this is what I had loaded, I took some of the regional leagues out. It's a huge player base. What I should have done was gone through and added the big nations. Brazil, England, Germany. At some point, probably when I reached Academic Clincini or even Lecce, added those nations, but put them on playable view only. It would have increased the player base. I could have taken out some of these lower divisions, the Turkmenistani First League, things like that. And, like this Moldovan stuff, there's no reason for the Division B or even the Division A right now. And it would have given me a greater player base to scout. One of the things I ran into, especially at Lecce, was that there just weren't a lot of players who were willing to move. The really good players were locked into their clubs and didn't want to leave unless you paid them outlandish sums of money. It got to the point where, I could sell Kuzmanovic to Atletico for 14.5. They turned around and instantly value him at 44. But they weren't going to pay 44 for him, not by any stretch of the imagination. Profile-wise, this is where we ended up. Decent attacking coach, decent defending coach, good discipline, good man management, good motivating. Working with youngsters was good. Adaptability was a 5, which I thought was interesting. Good knowledge of the USA and Poland. Played 525 games, won 342, drew 103, lost 80. 1,160 goals for, 568 against, a plus 592 goal difference. We won 65% of our games. A lot of those were due early on. It was very interesting, especially down in Georgia. I was able to work my roster really well, tweak my tactic really well when I needed to. I essentially played that 4-2-4 all the way throughout until I got to Lecce, then I went to a 4-3-1-2. Loyalty to players, it's always going to be low for me. I'm not going to keep a player who doesn't want to stay. Yeah, the Journeyman was an interesting save. I liked doing it. I set it up wrong, and then I just didn't plan properly for it. And that's on me. I think near the end, it was not quite as fun. I mean, it was still a good save. I don't regret doing it by any stretch of the imagination. I'll do another one in the future. I don't think it's going to be a yearly thing like I was talking about earlier. But it's just one of those cases where, especially at the end with work getting involved and everything like that, it wasn't what I wanted it to be. I set my expectations too high based on a series of facts that are no longer in place. YouTube isn't my full-time job, thank God. I'd die of starvation. But I have a great full-time job. I absolutely love it. YouTube and Football Manager is a hobby, and it's one I enjoy doing, and it's one I like doing, and I want to get better at it. I just wasn't able to devote the time and energy to it, especially the last 2 months of the save, and I think it really showed. And for that, I'm kind of upset at myself, and I would be surprised if there wasn't some followers who weren't upset with me at the fact that the quality did go down at the end. I can't deny that. Things are going to be a lot more, I don't want to say basic, but there's not going to be all the bells and whistles I had planned on doing. The green screen, I just don't have the space for it. I can't set it up. And plus, I like having the background there. The shirts hanging, the kids hanging, the wall hanging my wife got me for my birthday. Those are the Crystal Palace colors. I'm a Crystal Palace fan. My therapist says that's okay. And that's actually the beta save I'm doing is going to be Crystal Palace. And that's going to start next week. I hope you all check that out. For those of you who follow me through this journey, I really appreciate it. All the comments, granted there weren't a lot, but there were more than a few people that commented. I really appreciate it. If you watched, even just for a minute or two, I appreciate that. I'm always looking to improve. I'm always looking at getting better, and I'm always looking for ways to not shoot myself in the foot. So, any advice you have on that would be greatly appreciated. And, I hope you all follow me along on my next journey. It's going to be pretty fun. We're rebuilding Crystal Palace, and boy, do they have problems. And then I got another single team save planned for after the beta save ends. We're doing 7 years in Crystal Palace, if they'll have me there for that long. And then we're going to do a single team save that's going to be quite a bit more detailed. And I'm going to set that up so I can do that on my work or on my personal laptop and my work laptop if I have to. I got a couple options I'm thinking about doing. Maybe possibly remoting into the system here. Those are technical bridges I will have to overcome. So with that said, An American Abroad, the Eastern European Journeyman Edition is at an end. I am thinking if I do this again, it's probably going to be South American. I think that would be very cool. I've barely managed in South America. I think it would be fun. But there's definitely lessons I took away from this that I will apply to that, and hopefully it will be a better series. So that said, if you did like what you've seen and heard, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more content. Questions, criticisms, comments, leave those down below. I will answer those as fast as I can. My name's FM Jellico. I thank you very much for watching.